Welcome to Education Express, my dear friends. Today we are going to start with the first chapter of economics. This subject being new to you, introduced for the first time in standard 9. But trust me, this subject is going to be very interesting. Yes, one must take caution, a note of caution that you need to read a lot with respect to this. I will try and make up all the possible illustrations and the examples with lots of clarity which will help you understand and develop interest for this particular subject. The first chapter is about introduction to economics. Before we start with introduction to economics, one must know why do we actually study economics? What is that one particular term? If that term would have not been there, the subject so-called as economic would have never come into an existence. That means there is one particular term, there is one particular concept, there is one particular thing. Because that exists, that's the reason why we study subject so-called as economic. And if you think on that, probably you will understand that yes sir, every aspect of economy is directly or indirectly attached to that particular word. Of course, and the word is none other than the word want. None other than the word want, which we call it wants. What is so unique about it, sir? What do you mean by the term want? Oh yes, someone answered me, sir, want means needs. No sir, want means desire. So want means something which I want. And then these are the types of the answers which I actually got when I interrogated with the students with respect to knowing or trying to know what exactly want means. The matter of the fact is, as someone said, that want means needs. That is not the correct concept, because needs are simply restricted to food, clothing and shelter. So of course yes, by calling want as merely a needs would mean that you are restricting the meaning of the term want merely to needs. Someone said, sir, want means desire. You know what? Desire is a psychological concept. It comes to your mind, it pops up into your mind and it vanishes. I desire to have a Mercedes. Wow, what an amazing Rolls Royce. I wish I had that Rolls Royce. I also desire to go out on a date with Deepika Padukone, who would not like to meet Alia Bhatt. And of course, all this kind of things are a thing of desire. We actually don't get all these things. We desire for all these things. Then how they can be called as a want? Papa, I want food. And if you get food, you can say, yes, see the impact of it, how it is different from the one which I had a desire. So desire is different, need is different, and want is different. The subject so-called as want is in existence only, the subject so-called as economic is into existence only because of the word want. What exactly do you mean by the term want? I will recite the word. I'll call out the word want and the definition of want. Try and see in case if you can recite the same thing after me. Want is an experience to lack of satisfaction which leads to an action designed to fulfill that satisfaction. Sorry sir, what did he say? It's a tongue twister. No, it isn't. Want is an experience to lack of satisfaction which leads to an action designed to fulfill that satisfaction. I will make it very clear with the help of a very simple example. But before I give you my example, let me make you understand what exactly is the meaning of the term want. What did I say? Want is an experience to lack of satisfaction which leads to an action designed to fulfill that satisfaction. So now you can say want is an experience to lack of satisfaction which leads to an action designed to fulfill that satisfaction. What exactly it means? It means Ram wants to drink a glass of water. Ram is thirsty. He wants to drink a glass of water. So first, Ram is going to experience thirst. Want is an experience too. He will experience that he is thirsty. He is going to experience that he is thirsty. So want is an experience too, lack of satisfaction. He feels that how can he kill his thirst? Of course, sir, he can kill his thirst only by reaching to the source of water. He has to reach to the source of water. So want is an experience to lack of satisfaction. I am not satisfied, I am not happy, I am thirsty, I want water. Because he is experiencing this, he is not going to sit down over here. I want Deepika Padukone. I am not going to sit down over here. I need to do something. I want Mercedes. I am not going to sit down over here. In case if I sit down over here and don't take any action, don't work day and night to get that much amount of resources to get that product. Of course, boss, that is not a want. Want should always be accompanied with action. Action. There has to be an action. Want is an experience too, lack of satisfaction. I am not happy, I am not satisfied, I am thirsty. Which leads to an action. I will take an action, I will reach to the source of water. Why? So that I can lift the glass, drink the water. Oh, now I am satisfied. My thirst is killed. That means everything revolves around the want. So why? Wants are ever changing, never ending. They keeps on multiplying. They keeps on changing with changing time. All wants are not equally important. Some are less important. Some are more important. Some are least important. Wants are gradable. Between a choice that you want medicine or milk for your mother, I am very sure you will grade both the wants depending upon the urgency, depending upon your choice, depending upon your preference. Everything in an economy, every single thing is revolving around the concept called wants. Why, sir? Because want means what exactly we experience, why we are not satisfied, and we try and take an action to satisfy ourselves. Why do I go to office every day? Of course, yes. I also have a dream. You also have a dream. Your parents also have a dream. They also know that they need to work. Why? Because they need to satisfy their wants. So basically, it's all because of the accumulation of n number of wants. We do all possible activities. You know what the learned people say about the economy? That means the most learned economists have evolved the definition of economic. They say economic is a social science. You know, my dear friends, what do you mean by social science? Social science means there is no cause and effect relationship. It is not an accurate science. It is not a science as compared to your physics, chemistry and biology. Yet, economic is called as a science. We as a commerce student are learning economic, which they tagged it as a science. They don't say economic is a commerce. No, economic is a social science. That means best discovery. Economic is a science, but it is a social science. You know what is a social science? Social science means it deals with human behavior, my behavior, your behavior, social behavior. So it takes into consideration our behavior pattern. See, I'll give you a very simple example. Go to any particular app, travel app, makemytrip.com, or probably you can go to TripAdvisor app and try and search for a particular place. Let us say Mahabaleshwar. Today you searched it. From tomorrow onwards, you will keep getting continuous notification the price has dropped in Mahabaleshwar, the flight to Mahabaleshwar, or the taxis to Mahabaleshwar, or this to Mahabaleshwar, or any particular important notification related to Mahabaleshwar, you will be notified. Why? They are studying a human behavior. Once you decided to go to Mahabaleshwar, how you are going to reach there, they will keep on notifying you constantly based on human behavior. Man is a social animal. Social interaction is a must. Economic is a social science. So economics studies every single human activity. Now when I am talking about human activity, every activity revolves around want. Because I want this, I am working. Imagine if you were not having any want. Why will you work? If I don't have any want, I don't need to do anything. Why I worry about rise in the price of the petrol? Why I worry about the rise in the price of the food grains? Or why do I worry about the rise in the price of electricity charges also? I need not worry because I don't have any want. It's a single word which has forced us to understand the concept of economics, which says that economic is nothing but a social science. And what type of social science? Which studies economic activity. Now this is a very important line. Economic activity. Economic is a social science. Economic is a social science done, but it studies only economic activity. My dear friends, our activity can be classified into two parts. Economic activity, non-economic activity. Of course, I'll come to this aspect of differentiation little later on. Before I come to this aspect, I will just give you a brief idea about what exactly is economic activity and what is not an economic activity. If your mother cooks food for you, it is not for the price you are going to pay to the mother. It is out of natural love, affection, emotion, attribute and not money. But if you appoint a cook and if the cook makes a food, of course you have to pay to that cook for the services that the cook has rendered to you. That is an economic activity. You have taken my lessons on economic. You have taken my lessons on mathematics. Of course, you are supposed to pay the fees for that. That is an economic activity. But if some lessons are taught to you by your parent, helping you learn a particular subject, learn a particular concept, learn a particular activity, you don't have to compensate your parent by paying them the amount for the services that they are rendering to you. Of course not. That is a non-economic activity. In short, any activity done with the objective of commercial gain is an economic activity, and the activities which are out of natural love, affection, relation, emotion, those are all non-economic activity. Why I am discussing all these things with you? For a simple understanding of laying a foundation into your mind that economic is a social science and it studies only the economic activities. That means those activities where I am having a commercial interest. So I am not going to study how healthy is your relationship with your mother, how healthy is your relationship with your father, how emotionally both of you are attached. That will never become a part of my economic studies. What will become a part of my economic studies? What you want, what nature of commodity you want, how much you can afford, what is the standard of living of your parent, what is your standard of living, what type of perfume you are going to use, what type of laptop you are going to buy, which type of car you will be buying, how much money you earn, how much taxes you pay. Now, these are all the subject matter of economics, and that is why I reiterate, the word economic is possible only because of the word want. What is wants? So want is an experience too. So I am experiencing that I am thirsty, so I am not satisfied. Want is an experience too, lack of satisfaction, which leads to an action. If I am hungry, if I am thirsty, I can't stay there where I am. I need to take some action. Why? Because I want to kill the experience of lack of satisfaction. And that is possible only and only if you take an action. So any kind of experience associated with an action to accomplish that experience or lack of experience, that is what is called as want. So in a way, if I want Mercedes, that means I'm interested in buying Mercedes, I have necessary resources to buy the Mercedes, only then I can say that there is a want for Mercedes, or else I cannot say there is a want for Mercedes. Come to an aspect where they say that economic, the original word of economic has been derived from the word oikos plus nomos. You know what do you mean by oikos? The meaning of the term oikos means household. And household means every household. Household means you and me. That means again come to the same point. Social, remember social science? So they say that the word economic has been derived from the word oikos nomos, which means household management. In short, management of the households. In short, management of the people. That means finally economic studies human behavior. Economic is a social science which indulges in economic activity. So, in short, economic, the word economic has been derived from the word oikos and nomos, which means household management, which means behavior of the human beings. This is what has been exactly recreated in the textbook also. So when you read the textbook, you understand that economic is a social science which studies economic aspect or economic activities of the people. That means activities with related to consumption, activities related to production, consumption, production, distribution, services, rendering of services, giving of services for commercial objective is what is going to be studied under economics. When we do so, economic is divided into oikos and nomos. Economic is a social science that studies economic activity. Now, there were many economists, and with time and time again, they kept on delivering and giving us a different aspect and definition of economics. Although there are many definitions of economics, but the most popular, the most profounded definitions were basically, you have wealth-oriented definition, welfare-oriented definition, scarcity-oriented definition, and growth-oriented definition. Let us understand what exactly is a wealth-oriented definition. So my dear friends, this definition of wealth-oriented definition of economic was given by the father of modern economics, none other than Professor Adam Smith. Yes, Professor Adam Smith. Now what happened is, this guy, he is called as the father of modern economic. Alright, father of modern economic, he was alive from 1723 to 1790, I guess. Alright, that's not relevant and important. What is more important is, he was nominated as, and in fact, he himself has the credentials of being called as father of modern economics. And he was the one who propounded or coined the definition, wealth-oriented definition of economic. So first let me make you understand what exactly he wished to say from his definition. He says that, look boss, economic activity should be an activity of production, consumption, distribution. But these activities should be focused, concentrated only and only on building of wealth. We can earn, we can stock, we can store, we can develop, we can generate wealth only by doing these economic activities. So my focus is only on economic activities. If you do production, consumption, distribution, rendering of services, I am sure you will develop a good nation, you will develop a wealthy nation. And he says, happiness of the citizen of the nation depends only on the wealth of the nation. And a nation can become wealthy only if it engages into production, consumption and distribution. So that nation which is healthy with respect to its production policies, consumption, distribution, then the nation will automatically become rich. That means the nation will become wealthy. And a wealthy nation, being a wealthy nation, the citizen of the wealthy nation will be rewarded, and surely they will be happier as compared to any other nation who is not following those rules of production, consumption, distribution. So he says that economic wealth or wealth is the main focus, extremely important focus, and it is the source, it is the main reason of the happiness of the people in that particular country. Wealthy nations means happy nations. Wealth can be attributed, wealth can be generated only by activities involved in production and distribution, and those activities has to be economic activity. Now this guy, father of modern economics, that is Adam Smith, gave the definition of wealth-oriented definition of economy in his book, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of the Nation. That means in this book, which was published in the year 1776, he propounded and gave this wealth-oriented definition of economy. Now, my dear friends, if you see, we all know that when I ask you what are your wealth, so probably you may say, sir, land, building, machinery, gold, silver, all these things are wealth, sir. And of course, money. But trust me, my dear friends, this is very, very important. Adam Smith says that money is not a wealth. Money cannot be included in your wealth. So why? For a very simple reason, that money is only a merely a medium of exchange. That means I can exchange anything for money. Money itself is not a wealth. I'll give you a simple example. You remember during demonetization, we got to know the original value of money. Those notes which were old notes didn't command any value, zero value. Today also, if you have those old notes, once upon a time they were money. But money is appreciated only when they are accepted. If there is a non-acceptability of any particular currency, automatically the currency will be devolved and it cannot be called as a money. Money is only a measure of food. That means money will be valued only when there is an acceptability of the money. For example, if I go to a pan wala and if I tell him, look, I want a pan. The pan costed me around, let us say, 75 rupees for 3 pans. I gave him $1. Is he going to accept $1? Answer is no. He says, boss, what are you giving me? What are you offering me? I don't know which currency you are giving me. You better give me 75 rupees. I'm not interested in accepting this currency. So imagine one of the most famous currency called as dollar. It is an internationally recognized currency. But that Pana will not be willing to accept that currency. Why? Because it does not find its acceptability here. Same way if I go to US and if I discharge my payment in rupees, department store is not going to accept it. Although I can go to an exchange counter, that means money exchange counter, and get it exchanged, that is a different story altogether. There also it is accepted because there is an acceptability. If money loses its acceptability, money is worth nothing. Try and understand. It is for that reason he is saying that money is only a medium to exchange. But imagine if you have a gold and if I want to buy anything, can that be exchanged in USA? Of course yes. People will accept gold in USA, people will accept gold in India, people will accept gold in Tanzania also. But in Tanzania people are not going to accept Indian currency. In USA people are not going to accept Indian currency. First we have to convert Indian currency to US currency and then they are going to accept it. So acceptability is very important now. So he says that money is merely a medium of exchange. That means for that reason money can be converted into any wealth, but money itself is not a wealth. So don't misunderstand. Remember this clearly. Money is not a wealth. It is a medium of exchange. Money can be converted into any wealth, but money itself is not a wealth. This is a father of modern economy. That is Alfred 1723 to 1790. He published a book in the year 1776. In that book, that means the same, an essay into the nature and the causes of the wealth of nation, he gave the definition of economic. That was a wealth-oriented definition. And to sum up, what were the features of the definition? As I have already elaborated to you, but let us take point by point. Study of wealth. He says that his definition only studies the wealth of the nation. And wealth, I mean building, plant, machinery, gold, silver, money will not be included. And focus should be only on wealth building. That wealth can be generated, created by economic activity, that is production, distribution, and so on. Study of material goods only. I told you, I am interested only in economic activity. I am interested only in material goods. Material goods are those goods which command price. You have to pay price to get those things. Milk, material goods. Gold, material goods. Silver, material goods. Biscuits, material goods. Sugar, material goods. Cake, material goods. Sunshine, free of cost, not a material goods. Water, free of cost, not a material goods. Sorry boss, I'm not talking about Bisleri water, alright? I'm talking about normal water which is available to all. So that is free. Rain, free of cost. Air, free of cost. Those are non-material goods. But he takes into consideration only material goods. Material goods are those goods for which we have to pay. It commands a price and they are scarce. Causes of wealth. He says that wealth can increase, wealth can decrease. Increase in wealth would be attributed to again production, consumption, distribution. It depends. In case if you want to develop your nation, you have to ensure that those economic activities should be ramped up. How government is going to be proactive in helping you ramping up the production. That's how the government is going to create a wealth for the country. And how the wealths are created, in the same way the citizens of the country will be directly, proportionately be benefited because of those proactive policies of the government. And that is what's more important as far as this definition goes. Economic man. Now this is a very interesting question. Many a time you can get a 2-mark question on what exactly is an economic man. There are few people who are self-motivated. They know that I really need to work hard to become a wealthy. I know that if I will work hard, if I will engage myself in the best of the economic activities, then I'm sure that I am going to accomplish all my wants. How can I accomplish all my wants? Of course, yes, by earning more and more wealth. And how it is possible? You need to motivate yourself. You need to inspire yourself. You need to keep or probably have a role model where you feel that you get motivated to work, you get motivated to engage yourself in the activities where you can earn, where you can accumulate wealth. That is what is called as an economic man. Remember, the periphery of an economic man is that central idea of the whole thesis. In this diagram, if you see, wealth is at the center of the human welfare. That means human welfare depends upon wealth. If you have wealth, you will have welfare. People will ask you, people will take care of you, people will provide you all the necessities that you need because you have a money power, you have wealth, and wealth can actually help you get anything what you want. Again I say, what you want. So again I say economic. And this is how the whole definition has transpired. I'm sure you guys have enjoyed the definition, that is well-oriented definition of economics, coined by father of modern economists, yes, Adam Smith. Let's go on to the next one. So my dear friends, after understanding the concept of economic, concept of wealth, and also Adam Smith's, that's a modern father of modern economic. We move on to doing the next definition of economic, that is, first is wealth oriented, then is welfare oriented. Now this economists also have lots of ego problem among themselves. What father of economic, that means Adam Smith, says could not be easily digested by Professor Alfred Marshall. Even they have lots of ego problem among themselves. So he came out with another concept. Of course, to the misery of the students, they never knew that the students have to undergo so many problems where the definition of economics could be elaborated in a simple way. That economic is a social science that studies economic activity. Now the same thing if you keep on telling me in different language by using a various technological jargons, life is going to become more interesting and of course little more discomfort. Discomfort in the sense that the students will have to remember so many definitions. I will try and make it as easy as possible so that you can absorb and understand the essence of the definition. This time it's Alfred Marshall, and what he has to say. He says that, look, Adam Smith, I appreciate your definition with respect to the concept of wealth, where the major focus was on wealth. Now my question to you is, why do you need wealth? Yes, why do you need wealth? You don't need wealth to eat wealth. I need, you need, we all need wealth. But the wealth is needed to make myself more comfortable, to make myself achieve all my wants, all my dreams, to satisfy myself to the different level. So wealth in itself can't give you satisfaction. End result of the wealth is how you use your wealth and procure the satisfaction. So this link of human behavior, of welfare oriented activity, actually took away the entire sheen. And then this guy, that's Alfred Marshall, who lived from 1842 to 1924, became a very popular figure from his definition of economics, which was a welfare oriented definition. It was published in the book Principles of Economics, where he discussed and focused only on human welfare. He says, but wealth will come and wealth will go. What is more needed is what you do with the wealth and how you live up. What is more needed is the welfare that I feel, the welfare that I experience. We always talk about the well-being of the person. Hey, how are you? I am well. What about you? So you need to ask the welfare of the people. So what is more important is the welfare of the people. And wealth is merely a means to achieve that welfare. People don't demand wealth because they want to eat well. People demand wealth because finally they want to stabilize themselves in an experience of welfare. They want well-being, welfare, everything well. Not with wealth, but actually experiencing. So, he talks, I'm not saying, this is not my theory, it is his theory. He says that what is more relevant and important is human welfare and not wealth. Wealth is only and merely a means which can give you that welfare. So ultimately you don't have to chase for wealth, but what you need is a welfare. He talks about economic activities. He talks about material goods, which is exactly what has been said by Adam Smith also. Economic activity, yes. He talks about material goods, yes. Even this guy talks about the same thing, but then the both of them are different in only one view, that my definition is wealth oriented, whereas Alfred Marshall's definition is welfare oriented. I focus on mankind. I focus on welfare of mankind. I'm not focusing on wealth. I need wealth. Why? So that I can be in a state of welfare. I can experience, I can get more and more satisfaction with the wealth that I enjoy or I have. So finally, here he says that human welfare should be the central focus of all the activities. That is economic activities. I am considering only the ordinary man. So those extraordinary man who has taken a renunciation from the society, like those who are a sadhu or a sannyasi or etc. I'm not talking about them. They have a different lifestyle, different pattern, different protocol, altogether are different. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about an ordinary man. Who is an ordinary man? So ordinary man is engaged in ordinary activity of production and consumption, or probably a distribution. Ordinary man is engaged in any economic activity which will help him earn a living. Now, the ordinary man will use his energy, contribute to production, to earn something. With that earning what he has got, he is going to spend to make himself more satisfied, more comfortable, to be or to experience a state of well-being. I'm talking about that well-being. I'm talking about that welfare that he enjoys, that he cherishes. That is why, for me, human welfare is more important. Human welfare is more material, and that is why human welfare is at the center, whereas material, goods, wealth, etc., they are all the periphery of human welfare. For me, human welfare is more important than anything else. Wealth is merely something which can be converted into human welfare. So ultimately what you want is human welfare. This is what has been coined by Alfred. Now see, what are the features of his definitions? He talks about study of mankind. He says that, boss, look, I'm talking about mankind. I'm talking about welfare of the people. I'm talking about those people who are mature, those people who are ordinary, those people who understands, those people who believe that accumulation of wealth can help them experience welfare. So you surely need wealth to experience welfare. But ultimately what you need is not wealth, but welfare. Those are study of mankind. Study of ordinary business in life. Every ordinary man that I am talking about. Alright, every ordinary man will surely be engaged in some economic activity to make his living. Same thing what I said earlier also. So he has to engage himself to contribute something to the production to make his living, and that thing what he earns, that means the wealth that he earns, he can spend that wealth to derive a welfare out of it. That ordinary life is normal business life of a particular man, an ordinary man. We are not talking about any saint, we are not talking about sadhus, we are not talking about someone who has been renunciated with the society and been under a protocol as per the things that they have chosen for themselves. Study of material welfare. Again the word material. That means I am talking about material welfare, that means I am talking about material goods, that means I am talking about economic activity. In short, I am not considering any activities which are not in a non-economic activity zone. I get good amount of welfare when my grandparent, my parent bless me. I feel very happy, I feel very satisfied. But those are non-economic activity. Those are non-material aspect. We are not taking into consideration any non-materialistic aspect. We are focusing on economic activity and material aspect. And use of money. So they say that make sure that you use your money wisely, because as you know, money is not a wealth, but money can buy a wealth. Money can be converted into wealth. Money is a medium of exchange. So if you accumulate, if you create wealth smartly, then that wealth is ultimately going to be transferred, translated, converted into welfare. And welfare is my focus. This is what exactly Alfred Marshall has to say. Next is scarcity oriented definition. Now this is one of the most popular definition of economic, and in my personal opinion, in my personal view, this definition of economic is more logical, more practical as compared to all the other definitions that we have done so far. Professor Lionel Robbins, in his book, An Essay on the Nature and Significance of Economic Science, most importantly, the word science. I told you, economic is a social science which studies economic activity. So he has used the word economic science. That is the blending of economic activities with scientific view, cause and effect relationship, more responsible, more accurate as compared to any other social science. Though I am dealing with human behavior, but human behavior also can be predicted. Human behavior can also be judged. Human behavior also can be understood in a patterned way. That is why an essay on the nature and the significance of economic as a science. Now what was his definition? He says that economic is a science which studies human behavior. Fine. Economic is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means. Now this is a technical word. Ends. What do you mean by ends? It means wants. And scarce means resources are scarce. You don't have unlimited resources. You have limited resources, whereas you have unlimited wants. My wants are unlimited, but I have limited resources. We all know everyone has a dream, everyone has a list of wants, and everyone even knows that fact or rationality that my resources are not enough to satisfy all my wants. Let me make you understand few things with respect to the characteristics of wants. I hope you remember when I introduced the topic, I told you want is something which is very important. It's because of only want the birth to the subject like economic is possible. So they say that human wants are unlimited, and you agree with me on that. They are ever changing, never ending. Till the time we die, we really want something or the other. My want will keep on changing. Today I want phone, tomorrow I want laptop, and then thereafter I want something else. So this is one aspect of understanding how our want keep on upgrading ourselves. So human wants are unlimited. They are ever changing, never ending. Of course, a particular want can be satisfied at a particular point of time, but all wants at all point of time cannot be satisfied. That means at any point of time, we will always feel that there is a scarcity of resource. When I am talking about resource, what exactly do I mean by resource? The term resource means money, time, material, machine, and anything that can behave or act as a factor of production. So all those things that can contribute to production can be called as resource. But for your understanding, so that it immediately attracts your mind, you can think of money, material, machine, manpower. They are all called as a resource. Wants are unlimited, but resources are limited. I have unlimited wants. So many wants. I can make the list of so many wants. But I don't have that many resources. I have limited resources. What to do? Of course, there is a problem. But right from our birth, our parents are helping us understand the budgeting in the house. What is budgeting? Though our earning is 50,000 a month, yet mother manages the house so well that within the given constraint of the resources, yet she delivers the best. She tries and gives you the best within the limited budget. Mother does not have unlimited budget. Neither she is master at finance. No. But the daily course, the routine activities, the experience, and the allocation of resource, most important thing. Allocation of resource means distribution of resource. She is the one who constantly keeps on worrying, thinking, deciding, budgeting, financing, etc. to ensure that every member of the family gets what they want as per their priority. Although if I want 5 things, I may not get 5 things, but definitely I may get something which I feel was more important as compared to all the 5 things. In short, what I am trying to tell you is, human wants are unlimited, but the resources that I have is limited. Never mind. What to do? Learn to adjust. One more important thing which is very crucial is resources have alternative use. Alternative use means if I have 100 rupees, I can use 100 rupees to pay up for my fees, or I can use 100 rupees to go and watch cinema. I can use 100 rupees to buy a ticket for the housing. I can use 100 rupees to donate. I can use 100 rupees to save. So basically I have various options. Human wants are unlimited. Resources are limited. Resources have alternative uses. We can also use the word versatile use. We call it alternative use, multi-purpose use, versatile use. It's all one and the same. So human wants are unlimited. Yes, sir. Human wants are unlimited. Resources are limited. Resources are also called as means. Wants are also called as ends. So human wants are unlimited. Resources are limited. Resources have alternative use. And the last, all wants are not equally important. Wants are gradable by their true character. Now, for example, as I told you, if I have 5 wants, to pay the tuition fees, to buy medicine, to go and watch movie, to donate 100 rupees, or to save 100 rupees, all are not equally important. Depending upon what situation I am facing, what circumstances are offering to me, I know I have only 100 rupees. But if I want to accomplish all my wants, I need 500 rupees. So as of now, I have to grade my wants, I have to list down my wants as per their urgency. That means the most important want, less important want, and least important want. By doing so, what I am going to do is, I am going to use my limited resource to satisfy those wants which are more important. By doing so, I will get maximum satisfaction. Why? Because something which was more prior to me, something which was more dear to me, something which was more preferred, something which was more liked, got satisfied. And something which is less important, least important, can be satisfied later when I earn something more. So this chain will keep on moving, and that is why Professor Robbins gives such a significant, such a wonderful definition of economics, where he says that economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have an alternative uses. That means the scarce means, we are talking about resources having alternative uses. They are limited, they have alternative uses. Whereas want is unlimited and they are gradable. So basically, within the contrasting objective of all these 4 points, if you really want to enhance your satisfaction, if you really want to feel better with limited resource also, what one must do? Sir, do one thing first. Because wants are gradable, make the list of all the wants as per their priority. Done. Now, because you have a limited resource, so see how much resource you have. Done. I noted down. Now, sir, allocate the resource. That means use the resource. That means make sure that you are making the best use of your resource. How? So by satisfying those wants which are more important to you first. When you do so, it's called economizing. What is economizing? Making a perfect balance between what you have with respect to what you want. So when you make a proper sync between the two, of course, yes, the level of satisfaction that you get would be comparatively higher. And that is what Professor Robbins wants to say. Human wants are unlimited, but the resources are limited, scarce means. If you use your resource for one purpose, you will not be able to use the same resource for other purpose. So if I use my money for watching the movie, I will not be able to buy medicine from that particular resource. Alternative use. I can use my resource in any which ways I want. I listed to you 5. You can have 10 different ways also in which you can use your resource. Efficient use of resource. That means proper allocation of resources. Make sure that you are using your resources so carefully so that you satisfy those wants which are more important to you, those wants which were your preferences, those wants which were close to you, dear to you, preferred to you, urgent to you, which can give you more satisfaction. And finally, for doing so, you have to apply rationality. You have to apply logic. You cannot get carried away with something. You can say, no, if I donate 100 rupees, then God will look at me and God will bless me and I'm going to get more wealth. Economic considered that activity as an irrational activity. They say that your satisfaction depends on your material worth that you buy for yourself and you satisfy yourself. Merely donating can give you a pleasure within your heart, but in actual sense, none of your wants have got satisfied. So that is why they came up with science of choice. Science doesn't believe in magic. Science doesn't believe in religion. Science says that what actually went in the stomach is only gives you satisfaction. That means if you get a blessings and if you feel your mind is in the state of harmonious position, science says that. I don't trust that. I don't believe that. And that is not satisfaction. I don't say though. Science says that. So, unlimited wants, scarce means, alternative uses, Efficient use of resources means proper allocation of resources, and it is a matter of scientific choice as to how you need to allocate the resources to maximize your satisfaction. The Robbins have been applauded a lot for giving such wonderful definition and giving a clarity on every single aspect of it. Whether you call it, did Robin consider economic as a science? Absolutely. Why? Because he says that economic is a science. Does he consider human behavior? Does he say that economic is a social science? Very much he has said economic is a social science, and he even believed that economic is a social science which is indulged into economic activities. Very nicely said. He even took into consideration which no one other have ever touched also. The most important word which has given rise to the birth of the subject so called as economic, and the word is want. And it was him who said that wants are unlimited, whereas the resources that I have are limited. Wants are gradable and resources have versatile use. What one must do? Sir, efficient use of resources. Scientific choice. That is called as economizing. And if you do economizing, I'm sure you will be able to satisfy yourself more than anyone else. Alright, with this we'll proceed to the next definition, which is a growth-oriented definition. So my dear friends, after going through the three rocking definitions of economic, we are now heading to the fourth one, which has a very low profile. Professor Samuelson, but has been widely appreciated because of his proactiveness with respect to not just analyzing the problem that people face as a consumer, as a human, but also to provide solution to large part of the problems. Let me make you understand what exactly is a story. Now we all know, someone said that that's Adam Smith. He said that economic is a wealth oriented. Immediately Alfred Marshall poked his nose and he said, sorry, it's not wealth oriented. Ultimately I want welfare. So it should be welfare oriented. Why? Because wealth will help me to enjoy, and that's going to be ultimate welfare to me. So welfare should be, man or human welfare should be in the center, and all the other wealth should be a periphery. Then came Lionel Robbins. He said that, boss, ultimately what is the most important criteria is want. And we know that resources are limited, blah blah blah. And ultimately he says that you make a list of all the things because wants are gradable. And I'm going to use the resource to satisfy those wants which are more prior. Now tell me one thing. If I happen to be a drug addict, or if I am addicted to alcohol, so even if I have limited resource and I grade down my wants, yet my first preference would be either drug or an alcohol. And they say that in case if I prefer drug or alcohol first, that my resource must be used for satisfaction of that want. But that's immoral, right? Of course, yes, it's immoral. That means I'm inducing someone or probably projecting something which says that even though your want is immoral, against public policy, against the natural justice, against the wish of the society, yet if I get more happiness by doing so, then I must go for that. Does that Lionel Robbins meant to say? So Professor Samuelson would like to clarify on that, and he says that, look boss, allocation of resource is very important because it gives freedom to the wealth owner, freedom to the resource owner to decide how his own resources can be allocated to get maximum satisfaction. But it should not be left to him only. Economic will not be only light bearing, it should also be a fruit bearing. In the sense that economics should not only make you understand to analyze the nature of problem, but should also give you a solution to tackle the problem. That is exactly the growth-oriented theory provided by Professor Samuelson. He says that efficient allocation of resources is one thing. I totally, completely agree with what Lionel Robbins has to say. You have to use your resources wisely as they are scarce. At the same time, growth of resources is also important. I cannot say that my resource will be restricted, will be limited with time and again with dynamism, dynamic technology, modern technology. We must also think to increase the output, to increase the resources, so that even if the want is increasing, at the same time resources are also increasing. So ever growing want can be subset, can be neutralized to some extent by increasing the growth of resources. So you have to think about substitution of the natural resources. You have to think about various ways by means of which you can increase the production, you can increase the productivity, you can increase the efficiency, you can skill the labor, you can train them, you can do whatever it needs in order to increase the productivity. As one example, we have a green revolution where the productivity was enhanced many times. So modern time is very dynamic. Technology is going to be, you can say, a boon to all of us in order to enhance our productivity to match up to the ever-growing demand in the society. Then he says that economic should provide solution to the economic problem. He believes that no one is focusing on that, but somewhere I feel Robbins have also covered this aspect. He says that you have to allocate the resources by making a scientific choice. Now what Robbins concluded by saying a scientific choice is that only. But over here he also want to make it more clear by saying that economics should not only be a line bearing, it should be a fruit bearing. It should not only just analyze the problem, but it should encourage, it should guide to the people at large to decide what they are out to do and what they are not supposed to do. What they should do which can give them maximum satisfaction. It is for that reason that we also study economics, because we know at the end of the day we are going to use some of the laws of economics and some of the principles of economics to understand the situation around us so that we can get maximum satisfaction. It is for that reason it's a scientific approach, and that is what he says, that allocation of resources is fantastic, understood. At the same time, think on growing the resources is not wrong. That is a growth-oriented definition. He also says that economics should not only analyze the problem, but it should also give me the solution to the problem. And on top of that, dynamic in nature. Economics should not be an outdated, something which is unrelated, unrelevance. It should make relevance to you and to me. It's a modern subject. So modern out-of-box thinking is required for the purpose of enhancing the production, understanding the human behavior of the people, solving their problem, production, consumption, distribution, service, networking. Everything should be in dynamic nature so that we will be able to take up the challenge of the ever-growing demand. That's one side. All of the economists at the end agreed to the fact that Samuelson, you are great. You have given us a very comprehensive solution, a very comprehensive definition of economic, which not only takes into consideration the problem, but also has an ability to give the solution, which not only focus on the limited resources, but also focus on how to grow the resources. And your definition is dynamic in nature. That means it can be applied during any time, not just in 20th century, but 21st century also. Not just in 21st century, that means in times to come, this definition is immortal and can be applied at any point of time. That is what exactly the people have to believe with respect to his definition. After we complete that, we are left with two distinctions. And trust me, in each and every school, these two distinctions will be the priority for any teacher to ask. They are extremely important and extremely easy also at the same time. The distinction between microeconomic and macroeconomic. First, understand. When I use the word micro in itself conveys a full meaning that I am small. I am too small. Micro means small, too small, particular, only a part of it, not the whole. At the same time, the meaning of the word macro. Macro means whole, complete, entire, in totality. So when I'm talking about microeconomics, that means I will be studying a very small aspect of maybe a producer, maybe a consumer, maybe a resource owner. That means I am studying their individual pattern. That means I am studying, you can say, a problem related to consumption of A, production of A, resources that A has. So my study is restricted only, you can say, up to an individual approach. The I in micro, MICRO, the I in micro stands for individual approach. Whereas when I say macro, the A in macro stands for aggregate. Aggregate means total, means whole, means all, entire, complete, comprehensive. That is the meaning of macro. So both the studies are very, very relevant, because once I make an individual approach, I can also make a total approach, and both of them will help me understand the entire economy in totality. But understand the distinction between the two. When I am talking about a micro approach, I am taking into consideration a narrow aspect, only an individual approach. Whereas when I am going for a macro approach, I am taking a wider concept, a total approach. Let us have an understanding of the distinction between the two point-wise. Micro has been derived from the word micros, which means too small. So micro means small, narrow approach. Macro means wider approach. It is that it studies that individual economic unit which is represented by, you can say, a single producer or a consumer or a resource owner. Whereas it takes into consideration entire economy. So the concept of national income, the concept of GDP, gross domestic product, those are relevant, or we study within the scope of macro. Macro means we are studying the total. Micro, that means we are studying only at individual level. Now when you talk about micro, what do we study? We study about the price, that means individual price, individual income. Whereas over here, we study about general price in the economy. General price means price of everything in the economy. We are talking about general production in the economy. That means aggregate output. That means, you can check it out, aggregate output, general price of the entire economy. Point number 3, I stands for individual approach, whereas A stands for aggregate approach, total approach, whole approach, complete approach. Here we study individual demand, we study individual income, we study about a particular producer, particular consumer, particular resource owner, whereas over here we study aggregate demand, aggregate supply, aggregate output. Everything is all about aggregate. And finally, one such example, when you are studying about a particular firm, it means you are doing a micro study. But when you are doing for the entire country, that means you are doing a national output for a nation. It will be a macro approach. So my dear friends, this is one of the most important questions. I stands for individual, A stands for aggregate. Here it is individual approach, here it is an aggregate approach. Its concept is narrow, concept is wider. General pricing is a study of macro, whereas individual pricing is a study of macro. When I am talking about a particular firm, micro. About the whole country, macro. National income, macro. GDP, macro. And so on, my dear friends. So after doing micro and macro, we have a small thing which we have already discussed, and I have told you earlier also that I will be doing the same thing again when we will complete the chapter, and that is economic and non-economic activity. As you know, economic activity means any activity which I do with the objective of earning profit is called as economic activity. For example, I am into coaching, so I am providing coaching to you. My objective is to earn my fees, my remuneration for rendering service to you. It is an economic activity. What do you mean by non-economic activity? So non-economic activities are the activities where there is no objective to earn profit. I don't have any objective to earn profit. I am helping the poor. That is a non-economic objective. I am distributing food for the people who are deprived. That means for the purpose of upliftment of the downtrodden. So those people who are less privileged, I am helping them out without having any personal benefit or any objective of gaining from them is a non-economic activity. Remember, all the activities related to production, distribution, consumption, rendering of services, exchange, they are all economic activity. Whereas activities which we do it out of natural love, affection, emotion, help, socialization, they are all non-economic activity. Activities where charity, religion, politics, they are all non-economic activity. Whereas activities where I have material needs to be satisfied, where I have personal interest to gain commercially, they are all economic activity. Let us go through the distinction. This activity is to earn money or wealth, whereas this activity comes naturally out of love, affection, emotion. Production, consumption, distribution, exchange are covered in economic activity. Social, political, religion, charity, etc. non-economic activity. Here, this is for the satisfaction of my material needs. Here, mental needs, psychological needs, social needs, and to satisfy themselves. Employer-employee relationship is economic activity, whereas the relationship among the families, helping them together, NGOs doing social work, social welfare, any institution which is engaged in all these things, they are all non-economic activity. I am sure this chapter was very simple for you, easy to understand. Thank you so much for watching the video and wish you a very, very good health. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.